G'day, mate. I'm Mark.
I'm Rocky.
And we are
This Cruise Life.
Today, we're talking to you about a critical step if you are taking a cruise to Australia. It is something that our friends just discovered the hard way. You have required documentation that you must provide, you must apply for and receive before you can take a cruise to Australia. And they don't grant them. If you fly to Australia and get there, they do not grant this visa when you're already there. It has to be done in your home country.
Right. So we talked about a couple of really awesome cruise ships that are going down there with Carnival. We got the Carnival Luminosa and the Carnival Splendor. And we're sure that there's not going to just be Australian citizens sailing on these ships. So without further ado, let's talk about
Electronic Travel Authority, or the ETA as it's called.
So yeah, this is a requirement by the government of Australia, and it doesn't matter where you're coming from. As long as you are outside of Australia, you're going to need one of these visas.
Unless you're in New Zealand, but we don't see a whole lot of visitors to the channel from New Zealand. So.
No, we don't. So in order to be able to apply for your ETA, there are 6 different things that you need to have completed before you can even consider going to Australia. The first item is going to be an ETA eligible passport. There are a long list of countries that are actually participating in this program. We'll give you the list. There'll be a link right there in the description below where you can get all those details.
So that's one.
That is number one. Number 2 would be...
You have to be a visitor to Australia versus actually going there for work or going there to live. You have to be a visitor. So then 3.
Yeah, so you have to meet a health requirement. Fortunately, these days, that's been really reduced down. I know that was a pretty significant thing when COVID was still rampant.
The application walks you through.
It will, yeah. It'll tell you what's necessary to get completed
Awesome.
to make sure that you are good to go with your ETA visa.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, number 4.
This is a meaty one. Yeah. You must meet all character requirements. Australia wants to know that you are a good person.
Yeah, you got to be a stand-up citizen of your current country to be able to travel to Australia.
And the reality is if there is something on your record, let's say a DUI, for example, or some sort of criminal activity, it will take longer for your Australian ETA to process, guaranteed.
Yep, absolutely. And on top of that, there would be another document that you would have to submit if you do have any type of history. And that document is going to be the visitor visa, which is a subclass 600.
Oh, that's what, okay, yeah. Yes.
So just be aware of that.
So number 5.
You have to pay back all of your debts to the Australian government. You can't have anything outstanding.
Yep. And then
number 6.
The travel has to be in the best interest of a child. We'll talk more about that in the actual application process for the ETA.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's talk about what the Department of Home Affairs in Australia actually recommends for this process so that it can be a smooth transition for you as you apply for this visa. So one of the things you want to do is you want to make sure that you submit your application 4 months before you travel.
I mean, or 3 months, depending on which website that you've researched. Some say 3 months, some say 4 months. Point being, the government recommends you submit it far in advance. Yeah. Also, they recommend you not book airfare until your visa is granted.
You want to make sure that you attach all required documents at the time of the application.
But obviously some people don't attach those because they say that on their site multiple times. Remember, double check that you've attached all of the correct or needed documentation.
Right, and that includes your passport.
I don't know what I did with my passport, but yes, it includes your passport.
Right.
One of the other things that the site talks about again and again, so to apply for the ETA now, you essentially download the app. They highly recommend downloading the app to fill out all of your application process there, but because it's app-based, for any of us that have fallen victim to autocorrect mistakes, the website again and again emphasizes check the spelling of your name. So this leads, well, actually they say point blank on the site, the visas have been delayed due to the number of autocorrect mistakes in names.
That's crazy. You'd think you know how to spell your name. They also want to make sure that you're attaching translated copies of all of your documents. So that means everything should be in English.
Yes.
If you have anything that's an actual formal document that you're preparing or presenting for this application process that's in a different language, get it translated for this submission.
Yes, absolutely. And then specific rule if you're traveling with children, there are certain requirements and rules, especially if only one parent is going. They want to make sure that you're not essentially stealing the kid and going to Australia. So there are certain requirements that you will have to do. We'll put, again, that link down in the description to understand exactly what you need to fill out if you're traveling with kids.
Right. This one I thought was interesting. You need to be able to prove that you can support yourself during your visit to Australia. That means that you can provide a recent bank statement, pay stubs, anything along those lines that's going to show that you are truly there for visit and you can buy your way back out.
So once you've paid your debts to Australia, you have to make sure that you can support yourself while you're in Australia.
Right.
So I covered it in the requirements to get an ETA, but you have to be a visitor to Australia.
Right. So you have to have some form of proof that you're going to be coming back to your home country. Whether that's going to be a current pay slip, maybe some approval from your employer that shows that you're just on vacation.
Like when we go to Canada and we have to get a letter from our employer or something like that.
Exactly.
Yep. Awesome.
So those are the types of things that you're going to need to provide. One final thought that I thought was really interesting on the ETA.
Yeah.
When you apply and it's granted, you have 12 months to use it. It's an open 12 months.
But you can't go for 12 months.
No, you cannot.
You go for 3 months, go away, come back, and
correct.
Okay.
And you don't have to reapply if you're going back on that same 12-month period.
So, moral of that story is, if you're booking a cruise to Australia, book a couple cruises, right? I think I would like to get on the Carnival Luminosa or the Carnival Splendor. We love her. So Australia, obviously, with COVID, they were some of the most restrictive. They had some of the most restrictive rules in all of the cruise, all of the world. Yep. And so in July, they removed some of the testing requirements, and then in September, I think it was September, the masks
right?
for
finally
flying.
Right.
Okay, but check with your airline. Check with all of your travel partners to ensure that you know what's required by. While Australia doesn't require it,
right.
Some of the airline partners may.
Right. Absolutely.
So the moral of the story is, if you are taking a cruise to Australia, you're an American citizen, U.S. citizen, or
any other citizen of the world,
with the exception of New Zealand. Right. If you're a citizen and you're taking a cruise in Australia, you need to pay attention to the visa requirements. Yes. The cruise websites will oftentimes direct you to the cruise contract that will say what are the visa requirements or travel documentation requirements, etc. Usually buried in a lot of fine print. And so
make sure that you do your homework. Apply early for your ETA, the Electronic Travel Authority, and get that taken care of so that you can have a carefree, amazing Australian cruise.
And remember, while you're there, pay tribute to Olivia Newton-John. Until next time.
Remember to like and subscribe.
We'll see you soon.